Congress and primarying Andrew Garbarino. I am here tonight because Andrew Garbarino's record is more liberal than most liberals sitting in Congress, and we can't have that. So by way of introduction, I am the granddaughter of a New York City firefighter. I am the daughter of a small business owner and the big sister of 2 little girls in public school here. So let's talk about some of those things. The first thing we have an issue with is the border. I know we're all here tonight. We all know what that issue is. We have our Texas National Guard standing strong at the border, but our border is a multifaceted issue. Our border is wide open, and that's intentional. That is not an accident. This is an invasion. It was done intentionally by the powers that be because they don't like what's going on here and they want control, and that's coming in through the border. The border is a drain, frankly, on America because the people coming across the border are not here to better themselves. They are not here to seek asylum. They are not bringing their families. They are military-age gentlemen from nations that hate America. They want to do harm here. They are criminals. They are drug traffickers. They are terrorists, and they are coming in by the thousands every single day. And as we've seen, the best our congressmen can currently do is, well, if you sign Ukraine aid for us, we will allow 5,000 in a day, and that's our way of closing the border.
Nope.
That's not good enough. We need it at 0 because you don't come into this country illegally. We don't call guests in our house guests if they're breaking in through the front door. They are not guests. They are not here. They are not welcome this way, and we need to stop that because as they're doing this, it's causing a multitude of problems. So we can start with the fact that a very real issue is the drain on our resources, and we've seen that firsthand here in New York. We've seen our emergency rooms overcrowded to the point where our veterans are now being removed from the care of the VA hospitals in order to make room for people that are not citizens here. They're not paying those bills. So where is the money coming from for the bills that they are racking up in hospitals? Where is the money coming from for all of the shelters that they are building to the tune of billions of dollars in our city right now and further out east, as I've heard word that Hochul is looking at other areas in Suffolk County to start housing these migrants because there are too many of them.
Giving big money.
There's 9 locations.
Yes,
$10
they
million
are.
a facility.
Yes, they are. And where is that money coming from? Well, Hochul just signed her new budget plan for $233 billion, and she's already earmarked $2.4 billion of that for illegal immigration in the state of New York. That is your tax dollars going to decisions you disagree with. Tax dollars that are frankly already too high because our inflation rates are out of control. Our tax rates are being hiked. More than half your paycheck is going to decisions that you disagree with, like housing these migrants, while we are seeing elderly get kicked out of nursing homes, children get kicked out of their schools, people in shelters are living in a substandard condition compared to what these migrants are receiving. So what you're looking at right now is these migrants are the priority over American citizens. They are being treated better than every single class of American citizens we currently have. And that's coming from the top. That's in federal Congress and our White House, and that's a problem. But if we go back to the very real drain on our actual financial resources, let's talk about that for a minute, because while they're taking your tax dollars and sending them over to the Ukraine so that they can buy yachts and fancy things and carry on a fake war, while your tax dollars are going to immigrant shelters that they can't use because they're putting them in places that are not suitable for weather, so they take over public schools, you're also seeing an insane amount of inflation going on. I don't know how many of you have been standing in a grocery store line, but I've certainly done it where I'm counting up what's in my cart to make sure that I can cover the costs of that when I get to the checkout. That's a problem because our inflation rates have gone way, way, way up through the roof. And where did that come from? That's gas and oil because we are buying it from countries that dislike America. We are funding the terrorism that's going on over in the Middle East that President Trump stopped when he was in office. And we are watching that get undone right before our eyes. We had 3 service members killed in Jordan this week, and our president has said nothing about it. That came from funding from our tax dollars being sent over there for gas and oil. So why aren't we drilling and fracking here? Because there's green initiatives going on. Our governor is one of the supporters of those green initiatives. Green initiatives are about control. The control of how you cook pizza, the kind of car you drive, the kind of energy you can have in your house. And make no mistake, they don't care what kind of car you drive. They don't care how you make your pizza. They want control. We're watching them spend billions of dollars on these green initiatives to put wind turbines off our shore that are killing our wildlife, destroying our lands upstate. And by the way, that $233 billion budget she just passed 400 million of it is earmarked for green initiatives, so go ahead and tell me how much that costs less than gas and oil, right? We have gas and oil inflation right now because Biden ran through our reserves in the midterm elections to artificially deflate the cost. We are standing on some of the biggest reserves we have on planet Earth, and we're not drilling and fracking because they want control. Another place they want control is your schools. My little sisters are in public school. We are fighting every day with the DEI, the agenda about race, and all of the CRT that's going on. They're taking things out of textbooks. They're denying you the right to go in and figure out what your child is being taught. They're getting your child at a vulnerable state and they're not letting you in. They've taken away the right of parents to parent your own children. And that's about control as well. Because how do we get people to support green initiatives? How do we get people who are running around in the city for Palestine, for the illegal immigrants? Because they're starting at a young age and they're indoctrinating. So our school districts are a huge part of this problem. Our school districts are frankly out of control. We have to get control back within our school districts. And the way you do that is bringing parents back in. I was standing at school board meetings when the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates were going on. They attempted to kick me out of school board meetings because I wouldn't put a mask on. They put masks forcefully on my sisters in places like religion classes and school, so we stopped sending them there. But now what they're doing is they're trying to eliminate any other options you have. Private and Catholic schools, we've seen close. Any other options, they're attempting to defund or make it impossible for your students to graduate and go to college. Why? Because if your students are not in public school, they cannot be indoctrinated. And then they will not become the good little foot soldiers that we have going on right now. And that's what's funding all of this, and that's what's pushing all of this forward. So our school districts are a huge part of this problem, and it's happening right here on Long Island. And we're seeing that very real fight that was started a couple of years ago with regard to the masks and the vaccines, and it's only gotten worse. Now they're pushing gender agendas on your children. They're pushing CRT. Your children are coming home from school with knowledge that is not real history. They're learning a very fake version of history because they're pulling history out. We just saw the Thomas Jefferson statue in the city hall get taken down. It's been there for 187 years. But one of our veterans just got sentenced for a hate crime for taking down a statue of a demon. So this is the America that we are standing in right now. And while they're pushing all of this control, what they're ignoring is the crime, the rampant violent crime across all of our cities in this country, but particularly here in New York. Now, I was a prosecutor in Queens. I left over the vaccine mandate, but I saw firsthand what bail reform and the incompetence of district attorneys and attorney generals do to our cities. We are watching people get arrested 20, 30, 40 times a day and coming right out. Right now, they're looking for 4 people who attacked an NYPD officer in Rockefeller Center, but they're illegal, so they don't know who they are. And they were arrested and let go because of bail reform. And while they're being let go and we can't go into our city safely, we have J6ers who have been sitting in prison for 3 years, okay, without even being charged with a crime. That's a problem. We have political persecution in this country. And it all comes back to the fact that they're weaponizing our systems against us. And while we're standing here, our current congressman in District 2 has run for 2 terms on the Republican line, and then he's gone down to Washington, D.C., and he has sold us out any chance he's gotten. He votes to impeach Trump. He votes against the Second Amendment. He wants to send money to Ukraine. He wants your guns. He wants your rights. I don't know how many people were watching the Speaker of the House vote, but that was a problem, and that was what I've been calling the New York 4. Okay, throwing away your vote on a Speaker of the House when we have no representation down in D.C. is a problem. And a lot of this is being allowed to go on because our representatives have forgotten that they work for us. So that is why I'm standing here, because all of this has to stop. Now, I've painted a really bleak picture of what our country looks like and the trajectory that it's headed on. That's a sad thing, because I never thought we'd be standing in America that looks like this.
It's worse than you're saying.
It really is. And I mean, we're at a point now where we have our National Guard in Texas being pitted against the federal government.
Yeah.
The last time that happened was 1861, prior to the Civil War breaking out. We are on the verge of an America that will no longer exist. And that's a very scary and very real thing. But the silver lining to that is we can pull it back. We can take back what has been taken from us. Our constitutional rights, our freedoms, our ability to speak, the ability to parent our own children and raise them as we choose, the ability to go into our city safely, the ability to walk around in our own town and not see people who don't belong here committing crimes. I was in Target 2 weeks ago, and there was a group of illegals that ran out with a bunch of merchandise from Target, and when I asked the people at the register what they were doing about it, they can't do anything about it because they're not allowed. They will get arrested for intervening. That's the kind of country we're standing in right now.
They're losing their jobs.
They're losing their job. A lot of people have lost their jobs.
Walmart, Target, Home Depot,
Yes.
any intervention, you lose your
Starbucks
position
just
of job.
fired 2 people that dared to fight back against individuals doing just that in their stores. So this is the country we have right now. It doesn't have to stay this way. We need people in positions of power that are going to do the right thing. I believe we can get there because I believe in the power of we the people. A friend recently reminded me of what Benjamin Franklin was asked in his response when he signed the Declaration of Independence. They asked him, what do we have? And he said, a republic if you can keep it. We're looking at the if you can keep it. We have a republic, folks. It's there. We need to take it back. That's where we're at, because if we don't do something, we're not going to have that republic. We're not going to have an America. And what is that going to look like for us, for our children, for our legacy? We are going to be the people that sit here and watch as our country goes down the drain? I don't think so. So I'm here tonight because we need people down in Washington, D.C. who are going to get this country back on the right path. And I believe that we have the ability to take back America, and I hope you guys will join me in that fight.